If you are an insomniac or can't fall asleep, maybe this video will help you. I am somebody who absolutely every single night struggles with my sleep hygiene. And I know I can't be the only one. So I wanted to share a couple of tips and tricks that I have picked up along by myself with the assistance of help and with the paperwork that I still have, because I was cleaning out my room and I found a whole bunch of paperwork from when I was in speech therapy and cognitive therapy, occupational therapy. I found a lot of old paperwork that really helped me, and I know if it helped me, it can help somebody else. Not only that, but for like the last 5 years of my life, I've been just trying to figure out what can really help me sleep at night. Not just a regular sleep, but a solid sleep to where we wake up when we're not tired in the morning. So if you are anything like me and you struggle with that, I think that this video might be really helpful. So for those of you who may or may not know, 5 years ago I received, like I was given it as a gift in the mail. I was in a really bad car crash, and as a result of that, I had a severe brain injury. So one of the big things in my life that my brain injury affects is the way I sleep and my sleep habits. I didn't ever used to have sleep problems, so trust me, I know what it's like to be able to sleep like a baby, and then I know what it's like to be able to sleep like, Jesus, help, we're nocturnal over here, I guess. We're just nocturnal, and our bodies haven't coped with it. But I just wanted to make this, hopefully it will help you, because I think that's one of the most aggravating things, is to know that you need to get to sleep because say you have a big day or you just haven't been sleeping well, anything of that nature, and you can't freaking get to sleep. I think that's one of the biggest causes of stress and just an impact on our health and our mental state is if we don't get a good night's sleep. So especially if you have a brain injury and you're not getting sleep, we're talking about an issue. So I've really never thought that me getting hit in the head would affect the way I sleep, but it really did. So this video is kind of coming from the standpoint of somebody who does have a brain injury, but I know that it can be applied to anybody who is having trouble sleeping, because if it helps me sleep, I know it'll help you sleep. So right off the bat, something that was really interesting that nobody in therapy ever thought about, maybe it's just because they didn't know about it. There's so many cool inventions out there that we just don't know about because, you know, there's just a bunch of stuff out there. But my dad noticed that I was having such a hard time sleeping, and no matter what we did, if I tried to take sleep supplements like melatonin or, you know, just any of that other stuff that they have out there, it just would not work. And I don't even know if I'm gonna pronounce it right, but if any of you guys have heard of tetanus, I don't know what it's spelled and how to pronounce it off the top of my head, but about 3 months after my brain injury, we realized that I was suffering from that tetanus, I don't know how the heck you call it, but it's basically a consistent ringing in your ear. And you know, doctors have a couple different theories of what it could be. It could be literally your neurons in your brain trying to fire back up because they're broken. So it's just the consistent the sound that your brain makes when it's trying to basically reboot itself. And if you have a brain injury, it might be stuck on that. So you consistently and always hear this just high-pitched buzzing in your ear. There's no cure for it, and there's really no real treatments. There's of course therapy for a lot of things, but really what it comes down to, and what my therapist had told me, was that it's more so an acceptance and a ignorance, if that makes sense. So it's accepting the fact that the buzzing is never going away, but then also being able to gain the ability to ignore that noise as hard as it is. I can make a video about it all on its own, but that is one of the biggest things that affects me with my sleep, is just hearing that buzz in my ear 24/7, you know, on top of everything else and their brothers and sisters. So my dad and I were trying, not really me, but at this time my dad was doing a whole bunch of research on what the heck could help me, and he came across this hat. And this is just the plug to charge it with. But it has this little box on the top, and it's got buttons, it's got an on and off switch. I don't think it's charged, or it would, oh yeah, you can see the slight blue light. So it's this really dim light, and on the inside are these like these things, okay? And they're, the best way that I can explain it is this hat emits frequencies that will offset the hertz that your buzzing is being persistent at. So when you put this thing on, I can't really put it fully all the way on right now, but, and it makes you feel so silly, but you put it on like this, and the silver pieces right here go over your ears. And then one goes on the back of your brainstem. And then you turn the thing on, and usually I would have my hair up, and you turn it on, and the best comparison I can explain, and like I would know though, it sounds like what outer space would sound like. So it almost sounds like you're kind of going in a supernova. Again, like I would know what that sounds like. But there's also an adjustment for volume, so you can make it like loud, or it can be a little bit more quiet in case, you know, you don't like a whole bunch of noise. This thing works magic. In a way, I wish there was a buckle that went under your chin, because sometimes if you like flap around in your sleep, the hat will come off. So there's been times where I wake up and it's only because I'm like, oh my god, where's my hat? where are the cool noises? But I will say, when I first tried it on, it made me feel very uncomfortable, more so because it took away the ringing in my ears, but the noises I heard were like they're all different, like megahertz. I don't even know if that's megahertz, whatever the heck it is. They're all different frequencies of sounds. It's meant to offset one of the buzzes in your head. And I know everybody's buzz, if they have a brain injury, might not sound the same, but that's why there's so many different sounds that starts coming through this thing. It's absolutely amazing, you guys. And as long as you charge it, this thing will last for hours. So the little thing on the top is a little bit frustrating. It's a little bit interesting to get used to wearing all the time, and the sound is also something that makes your body feel weird, but it's helping you relax. And the more you wear it, the more you get used to it, so the sound isn't as foreign. But I absolutely love this hat, and I don't know what I would have done if my dad wouldn't have found it. And I think I went back to therapy, and I was trying to explain this hat to them, and they thought I was going absolutely crazy, but I'm serious, it works. So if you are somebody who suffers from buzzing in your ears, like an intense buzz, try this out. I'll try to find a link to where the hell my dad found this, but, or if they're still even making it. But this little hat is something that I would really, 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 really recommend if you are having a hard time sleeping and you are also suffering with a brain injury. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to just go through this checkpoint really quickly, and as I said, some of it may refer to a traumatic brain injury, but whether you have a traumatic brain injury or you just can't sleep at night, I know that these will apply to help. They will help. Tips for a good night's sleep. Number 1 is maintain structure during the day. Try to establish a routine or a timetable, as this helps sleep get regulated. People with a traumatic brain injury in particular may need to set an even more rigid schedule, one that sets a specific time for getting up and going to bed every single day. Routine. Whether that be because the virus has completely upstruck our world and school might be different. Some of us might be going to school at home. Some of us might not be doing the sports like we used to. It is still so detrimentally important for the brain, especially if you have a brain injury, to have a routine to follow so you kind of know what to expect. I feel like one of the things that really also drives me to not be able to sleep at night is anxiety, and it's just me either not knowing what I'm going to be doing the next day, me not knowing what to expect, like in general. Say I have anxiety about like a dream I'm going to have. If I had a really busy day and I like sit down and I do a to-do list, I make sure I do my to-do list, I make sure I don't just sit down and get lazy right off the bat. If I want to get lazy, I'll wait until that's almost time for bed. But yes, having a specific time when you go to sleep and fall asleep, yes, it might be hard, and it might be one of those moments where it's like, okay, well, I want to plan to go to sleep at 9 o'clock, but I can't get to sleep until 11. If we still get our butts into bed at a normal time, and say we wake up, like I always wake up early. So if you always are set to wake up early, your brain knows, all right, I'm going to be waking up at this time no matter what. So if we kind of try to help ourselves go to bed at the same exact time, as opposed to, oh, I went to sleep at 7 o'clock this night, then I went out and didn't go to bed until midnight, then I went to bed at 8 o'clock, then I went to bed at 10 o'clock. you know, the hours of when you're awake and when you're not, and when your brain is, you know, ready to be up and when it's ready not to be up, it really, really affects you. It really, really does. And it's almost like with me, if I sleep in too late, my brain feels crazy when I wake up. It feels absolutely crazy. So, tip number 2, get involved in hobbies and pleasurable activities. Engage in outdoor activities, as exposure to natural sunlight is important to maintain your wakefulness. I cannot tell you how often it helps me both during the day and during the morning to be outside. Sometimes I don't like to try to be in the sunlight too much in the morning for long periods of time, because have you guys ever noticed if you do go outside and you're just hanging outside, you get tired really, really easily? It's almost like the sun sucks energy out of you. So it's like at the same time it's sucking energy out of us, it's also putting energy inside of us. So sunlight is so important. And one thing that also I could tell really affected me was the medications that I was on before I got my pulls out, and while I was still kind of gathering everything after my brain injury, they caused me to have sensitive skin to the sunlight. It was like photosensitivity. It's like photoshock sensitivity, but it's basically where, yeah, you can't really go into the sun because of the medications you're on. And when I would go out into the sun, I would break out in these crazy little bumps. My body and my brain could completely tell when I would not be out in the sun. So maybe try to, if you are in that position where your skin is very sensitive to the sun, either that just be because you were born with it or due to the medication that you're on, try going outside in the evening time, like right when the sun is about to set. Maybe take the dog for a walk at that time, or take yourself for a walk. It's very, very helpful, especially like they said, to do outdoor activities. I mean, as a kid, I can't even tell you how many hours on end I would spend outside and then not have a problem coming home and passing out. I think it's just that our brains are really busy, but they're being busy in a stationary way. So for example, we're either just sitting at work, we're just sitting at school, we're just sitting around because we don't really have the motivation to do anything. Well, although we're not really doing anything, our brain is still producing the energy and our body is producing the energy to where it's like, hey, I know you might not want to, but I need to get up and go. It's kind of like a dog, and they need to get up and run. They need to go to the bathroom. Our bodies need to do the same, and our brains need to do the same in order for us to maintain just a peaceful harmony within ourselves. So then, we can eat, go to sleep, and not be too stressed out. Just because we spent a day outside, and I know it's hard, but a 15 to 20 minute exercise, here and there, it's accessible for our schedules. Even for as busy as we may be, there's always time. We can always make time. And another thing, I don't know if it's on here, but if I eat right before I go to sleep, it's just all hell for me. Either when I wake up, it's either my stomach, my brain, my body, there's just something along those lines. Our bodies don't need to be digesting and sleeping at the same time. So if we have dinner at 9 o'clock and then we're in bed by 9:30, well, of course our body's not really going to want to just be settled down and relaxing, because we have all of this stuff going on now, because our body's digesting and processing all its nutrients. So if you eat a nice dinner too, no junk food, no ice cream, don't eat that type of stuff before bed. Don't drink alcohol before bed. Just try to drink water, or drink some warm tea or warm lemon water. I always used to drink warm lemon water before and after I would go to sleep. But if I eat early enough, my stomach is digesting itself and it's almost calmed down by the time 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock rolls around. So when I go into bed, I'm not just laying there like, oh my god, I'm so full. Maybe my stomach doesn't want to lay down right now. I have just found that it's been a lot more helpful for me if I don't eat right before I go to sleep. Next, exercise regularly. Do strenuous exercises, I don't even know if that's how you say that word, such as jogging or aerobics in the morning, and light exercises such as stretching or yoga during the evening. It's best to avoid exercising a few hours before you would like to sleep. That I will kind of say más o menos, because when I was in gymnastics, I would get off of gymnastics at 9 o'clock at night and then go to bed at probably 10, but I would get the best sleep because I did a huge workout. I don't know if it was because I did a huge workout and then we would stretch at the end, but that is something that is absolutely so important, is to exercise. Whether that be a punching bag, whether that be just doing a couple push-ups. I used to do that every morning. All I would do is 10 push-ups and that'd be it, and I'd feel great. I'd feel great, I looked great, it was great. But Something that I started trying to pick up, and I mentioned this in another video of mine, is I've been trying to stretch a lot. I don't really like working out because I know I have like an addictive personality, so whatever I put my mind to, I will literally go forth crazy and wild. So I want to just monitor myself and not just not do that. So I've been stretching every morning and as much as I can before I go to bed. Sometimes I forget, but I can't tell you how much it makes me feel better, and I'm not so tight when I go to sleep, so I'm able to relax a little bit more. You know, if you ever have a really tight anything on your body, or your neck is tense or your back is tense, and then you go to lay down and it's just not comfortable, so how are you going to sleep if you're not comfortable? Well, if we take time to kind of rub ourselves out, do light stretches, nothing intense, we don't need to rip our bones from our muscles, you know what I mean? But just giving ourselves and our body just a little like wake up, like, woo, I'm up, let's go. Ugh. As opposed to just getting up and kind of robotically going about our day, and then robotically going to sleep, and then robotically trying to fall asleep and it not working. We got to be a little bit more sensitive and nice to ourselves. So I do agree with that. I think exercising regularly, even if it's just, you could be exercising a lot for work, get up on your feet a lot. If you're always sitting, stand instead for a little bit. But I definitely think that that's very helpful. Number 4, avoid daytime naps. If you must nap, limit yourself to no more than 20 to 30 minutes, and try to do this around the same time every day. In other words, if you need to, put nap time on your timetable. I am the type that I cannot take naps during the day, only because even if it's an hour nap, a 15-minute nap, a 3-hour nap, whatever nap it is, if I sleep during the day, I'm absolutely exhausted and I will not be able to get up and start functioning again. That is something that I noticed happened after my brain injury. When I was in college, I used to be able to come home, take a nap, and then wake up and start doing homework or just start doing anything, and then be able to go to sleep fine. But now if I do take a nap, I promise you, even if it's just an hour nap or a 15-minute nap, if I start dozing off, I'm not going to be able to fall asleep at night, and I'm just going to be up. It's the same thing if I fall asleep way too early. So like they were saying, maintain a good, healthy sleep schedule. Don't just be all over the board with what time you go to sleep. If I am way too early, then I'm going to wake up early. It's like if you put an old lady to sleep at 5 o'clock and don't be surprised when she wakes up at 12 and she's up until the crack of dawn. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. Everybody's bodies might be different, but I definitely noticed after my brain injury, I cannot take naps. I don't know if you guys remember, but I've been in a couple research studies where they take a whole bunch of people with brain injuries and they like you're either in a control group or the other group, and a lot of us would get together at the end of the session and talk about our brain injuries, and so many other people would also say, I cannot take a nap, I don't care how tired I am, I can't take a nap, or it'll mess up my whole day. So if you're somebody who finds yourself taking naps here and there, like say you're just bored, you get tired, anything along those lines, try to not do that. And if, like they said, if you do, then you're gonna have to do it every day, or your body's gonna like be deprived of that little bit of sleep that it's used to having. So then like every 3 days you want to take a nap, or you take 2 naps one day and then none the next. Your brain is just gonna be a little bit haywire. It's like, what the heck? So this one is very, very important, and I have a whole video planned on it all on its own, but this one says, maintain a comfortable ambience in your bedroom. Set the temperature to numbers that you're most comfortable with. Cooler temperatures are better for sleep. Minimize noise and light. So with me personally, I do benefit from a little bit of light. So like right here, I have some Christmas lights wrapped around a stand that I have a plant. And I also have a little night light on my bed, or I can sleep with this on. I also have a light that my dad built underneath my bookshelf right here, so if I want to dim that really, really lightly, I can. Or it can be bright, you know. But having a comfortable setting in your room is so, so, so important. If you have like a lot of animals, for instance, don't always allow them to sleep with you. Like she can hang up on the bed right now, but I never let her sleep with me. So even like my cats, allow yourself to be calm and peaceful. Don't have something that's going to be waking you up. Don't have something that's going to be crying at you. So I like to close my door and put my cats outside, and then they know that when the morning comes is when it's time for them to start waking up. But I usually wake up before them. But yeah, you guys just make your room as comfortable as possible. Paint your walls colors that will make you feel good. They have different brightnesses, not really brightnesses, but different shades of light, if that makes sense. Like there could be a white light, a yellow light, more of a dimmer auburn looking light. So for example, this light that I have on my nightstand is so different than my lights that I have in my room on any other, like even up on the ceiling. And I think that's cool. It's important. It gives off another energy of its own. And I know it's on here too, so I'm going to get into that. So this next tip is avoid coffee, tobacco, or any other stimulants after noon. So that one's interesting. If you guys want to get a good sleep, better not stimulate yourself after noon. Some of that might be hard. Some of us might like relaxing in different ways or just unwinding in different ways. But just keep in mind that if you ingest a whole bunch of stimulants before you are trying to go to sleep, there's no way in heck that you could expect your body to just peacefully fall asleep, you know? So just be careful. Don't drink pop. I used to do that all the time. I used to drink pop as a kid before bed. I don't know why. But yes, and I also think that if you have trouble sleeping at all, or if you have high levels of anxiety or stress, don't consume caffeine. Don't drink coffee at all. Don't drink weird sports energy drinks. Yeah, that's just my biggest advice. Just stay away from it. It's not only addictive, but it's just not good for our health. So yes, don't do stimulants, okay? Just allow yourself to be relaxed and let your body naturally stimulate itself. And there's ways to stimulate yourself, like working out, doing a fun activity, you know? Take a nice shower. Take a cold shower. That'll definitely stimulate your body. But this is the number one most important thing that if any of these things I had taken into an actual consideration and applied it to my daily life, it's this. Use bed for only sleep/physical intimacy. Avoid other activities such as reading, talking, watching TV, or using electronic devices such as tablets or cell phones while you are in bed. The mere fact of doing these activities in bed can disrupt sleep. What's more, the background light of electronic devices can make sleep more difficult to achieve. I would also really recommend don't have a TV in your room. That was a rule my mom always told me from the day I was born. You don't have TV in the room. It's just not a part of life. And she also told me to not have too many books. As you can see, I'm struggling with that. But books carry knowledge and knowledge carries energy, and you got to be careful with how much energy you have just swimming around your room because it can keep you up at night. Regardless of if it sounds like such a little silly theory like, oh, I got a book by the side of my bed, all that knowledge is going to keep me up at night. I promise you, my mom was serious when she said that. But I used to do absolutely everything in my bed because I loved my room so much. It's so comfortable. I can be alone. My dad would be outside watching TV and I could just come in here and play my iPad and do my homework. I could read for hours. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. I could read for hours and hours. I would broadcast on YouNow on my bed almost every single day. I would literally wake up and start reading to you guys while I was still in bed. I did everything in bed, and my therapist asked me one day, she was like, and it was my speech therapist too, she goes, what kind of activities did you like to do in your bed? And I was like, oh, let me tell you. And I just went on and on and on and on about all of the different things that I like to do. I was like, I could paint my nails, I could draw a picture, I could make a podcast, I could watch a movie, I could do anything my little heart desires in my bed because it's the most comfortable place in my life. And then she's like, oh, okay, so why can't you fall asleep in it to save your life? I'm like, oh. She was like, dude, you have completely trained your brain to not see that as a sleep object anymore. You see it as something to hang out on, like a beanie bag. She's like, if you need to do that, hang a hammock chair thing from your wall. And I'm like, that's still something I want to do. I want like a cool hanging chair. Get a really nice bean bag, you know? Make a cool little pillow place where you can practice meditation or something like that. But do not do it in your bed. And if you can, try to not do it in your room at all. I cannot tell you how much it helped me. It helped me so much. Now my body knows when it sees the bed, that means it's time to lay down and go to sleep. It does not mean it's time to take out my phone. It does not mean it's time to whip out a book. It doesn't mean it's time to kick up my feet and watch TV for 5 hours. No, my brain has literally established a relationship with my bed that is only and only sleep. You know, I don't want to be on it unless I'm asleep. So when I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, it's time to get up, I no longer am like, oh, let me sit here and look at my phone. Let me reach over and get a book. I have to get up. I gotta brush my teeth and I need to get on with the day. if we train our brains to always want to do something laying in our bed, or that it's just so comfortable and it's just so easy, our brain is always going to want to just hang out on our bed. We're going to walk in and say, oh wait, I haven't talked to Johnny in 17 hours, let me sit down and call him. No, as opposed to saying, oh, I'm not going to sleep yet, I really don't need to be in my room, I'm not changing, I can get out of here, I'm not going to get into the habit of falling on my bed every single day and that's my only comfort zone. It's like the nest we were talking about. We gotta step away from our nest, step outside of our comfort zone, and then it will become our safe spot to where our brain and our body will be like, oh, I'm tired, I need to go lay down. I used to condition myself to only be able to fall asleep on the couch listening to the TV. I promise, ever since I was a kid, that was my number one thing. If my dad would put me to bed, I would sneak out and then go downstairs and turn on the TV and fall asleep on the couch. I had to have that background noise, and if I didn't have that, I couldn't go to sleep, but it was only because I conditioned myself to need that. So if you've conditioned yourself to have the TV on in the background, I promise you though, I understand, because that's why I would sleep with this thing. I couldn't focus because of the ringing in my ears, so I would need a little bit of background music. I would need the TV playing lightly. So in a sense, that can help, but when it comes to the aspect of doing all of those activities in your bed, that's when it needs to change. So maybe if you know that you need to watch TV before you go to sleep, plan to watch TV for an hour from like 8 to 9, and then once 9 o'clock comes, you know it's time to turn down the TV, turn off the lights, and roll over and doze asleep, so we can slowly start conditioning ourselves to just being able to naturally fall asleep again. Like when we were babies, you know what I mean? Okay, so next little piece of advice that is also, it runs hand in hand with the last thing that I said, but keep your bedroom stress-free. Do not use your bed as an office. Avoid working on the computer, on the laptop, avoid paying bills, and do not do job-related paperwork in your bedroom. I don't care if you have a desk right here. Move the desk. Move the desk somewhere else. It is so important to, like we said too, we want this to just be a peaceful presence. So if we have radioactive activity or just radiation buzzing from our laptops or TV monitors or computer monitors or Wi-Fi modems, of course we're going to have something interfering with either on our physical state, our mental state, our spiritual state. Something's going to be affected by that. Like we keep saying, energy is energy. So if we keep this room as peaceful as possible, amazing. Never pay your bills in your bedroom. You are going to see this as a shitty place. Like, oh, I just was $200 short on my bill this month. Now I gotta go in my room and make a phone call. You can't kick your feet back and relax after that. You're in like the same area, you know? That'd be like sleeping in your classroom. Never leaving your classroom. You don't shit where you sleep. So, don't do anything stressful in your bedroom. Just allow this to be a very comforting place. If you are fighting with a significant other, make sure a fight never happens in the bedroom. Make sure that it's only a place of love, whether that be self-love, animal love. That's another great tip. Sometimes if you do have an animal with you, like a cat's purr is very therapeutic. Even my dog's breathing to me is sometimes sweet because they're so calm and peaceful, and it's amazing. So yeah, just avoid stress. Just put plants and pretty things and stuff that makes you feel good. That is so funny. Have a dinner at least 2 hours before bedtime. A late dinner can lead to acid reflux, which can affect sleep. So we did talk about that earlier. It's very, very important, especially with that being into consideration. My mom used to suffer with that stuff. I only had it once in my life and it was horrible, but avoid eating too much. Avoid over-the-counter sleep medications or any other non-prescribed medicines. I wish I would have thought about that a long time ago. A long time ago. There was even time where I would try like these little CBD tablets that my dad would get me. Nothing worked. Nothing worked. But like with everything, those are just generic things that are available to the general public, and some of us have different unique systems that are outside of how the general public operates and works. So what works for some people might not work for us, and it might just lead to other issues or side effects or just that and the other. So just stay away from sleep medication. It is absolutely another thing if your doctor prescribes it for you, but if you don't have a doctor prescribing everything and like I said, you're just taking melatonin or you're just taking silly things at the store, my biggest bet would just take some lavender chamomile tea. drink something that would be more relaxing herbally as opposed to like medicinal. But yeah, that's just a very good tip that I have is it's our mental focus and our physical focus and just how we go about our day that dictates how we sleep or not. And I know there's a whole bunch of other things, I promise you guys, because I've been on all different types of sleep medications. But from my perspective right now, all of these things I have implemented some of them into my life. This thing helps, but I have been able to find a way to where I do allow myself to have a peaceful night's rest, and I don't even have to necessarily consume anything or try too hard. Some nights I do. We're not gonna lie, we're all humans. Sometimes life is stressful and we can't just fall asleep. But it's almost now regular to me that now the only thing that affects my sleep is my dreams. My dreams are just a whole other story of its own. But my mental being and my ability to kind of calm myself down has immensely improved over the years. So yeah, I thought this would just help you guys maybe. Avoid alcohol and illicit drugs. Although alcohol may help you fall asleep, it may inhibit your ability to stay asleep or to sleep well. It's best to avoid alcohol or illicit drugs while trying to overcome sleep disturbances. I watched an amazing video about alcohol and marijuana and how it affects the body, and even though it makes us fall asleep, really it just puts us into a sedative state where our bodies are literally tired. The drug and the alcohol is what's tricking our brains into being tired. So when that high wears off or the alcohol wears out your system, your body is going to realize that it was never really asleep. So those hours you spent asleep after you were drunk or after you were smoking, it wasn't even a real sleep state. It was like this half and half thing of, I don't even know what the heck it's called, but it's not a full sleep state. So if you are smoking every single night before you go to bed, or you're drinking every night before you go to bed, and you find yourself waking up and you're still tired, it's because it's like when you go to the doctor and they give you anesthesia. They put you to sleep. You're not choosing to go to sleep. You're being put to sleep. So there's a difference between your body needing to go to sleep and saying, okay, it's time, I'm relaxed, let's fall asleep, and it being ingesting something that makes you go to sleep. All of a sudden, you have to go to sleep. But if you would have never taken those drugs, or if you would have never drank, you wouldn't be tired. So that false sense of sleep that a lot of mostly everybody in this world is experiencing, it's not due to a bad life, it's not due to stress, it may just be due to the substances that you're ingesting before you go to sleep, thinking that they are helping you. When in reality, they're helping you go to sleep, but it's just putting you to sleep. You're not falling into a deep sleep that then will rejuvenate your body and allow your mind to rest. You're basically just in a little pass-out zone where your body can't handle the alcohol or your high, so you just fall asleep and you don't really fall asleep, if that makes sense. I really hope that was a good explanation. If not, I am so sorry. But the next thing, don't watch the clock. Turn your alarm clock around when you are trying to go to sleep. Checking your cell phone or looking at the clock to see what time it is when you're trying to fall asleep can make you more anxious and makes it harder to sleep. You can say that louder for the girls in the back. I swear to God, there are nights where I fall asleep and I wake up and I swear I've been asleep for 8 hours, but I glance at the clock and it's been an hour and my mind is just shot. I am I don't want to go back to sleep. What the heck? B, I'm like, if I try to go back to sleep, I still have 7 more hours I gotta try to sleep. My brain's not ready for that because I thought I just was asleep for 7 hours. But yes, watching the clock can be one of the worst things, especially if you have to get up early for school or for work. Your mind is going to be more curious as to what time it is than really actually falling asleep. So yeah, do not watch the clock. These earrings keep getting stuck in my hair. I might take them out. Okay, if you cannot get sleep, sorry. If you can't sleep, get out of bed. If you can't fall asleep within a reasonable amount of time, get up and go into another room. Do something boring until you feel sleepy. At that time, go back to bed and try to sleep. If you still can't sleep for a reasonable amount of time, then leave this room again and repeat the process described above. Do this as many times as necessary until you fall asleep. The idea here is that you want your mind to associate the bed with sleeping, not with not sleeping. The greater percentage of time that you are sleeping while in bed, the easier it will be to sleep while in bed. It's habits, it's silly little habits. But I used to do this all the time. If I could not sleep, I would get up and make a makeup tutorial. There's some makeup tutorials that I posted, but I recorded at 2 o'clock in the morning watching the sunset come up because I just couldn't fall asleep. Some nights I would never be able to go back to sleep, but then some nights I would be able to go back to sleep after I made the video. Some nights I would get up and I would draw or I would read, but I'd get up. Like they said, don't do it in bed. You can't do it in bed. You have to get up. Get up and start cleaning. That's a great task. Do a boring task. Don't do something that's so exciting. So if exciting is watching YouTube videos, don't do that. You're not going to want to put it down. You're going to be stimulated by the next video. Get up and do something that is really boring. So that's why I said clean, read, walk in circles for all I care. But the more boring, the more bored you will get yourself, and the more your body will be like, dude, I would way rather just be asleep right now. So it's almost like tricking yourself into being like, okay, well, I'm awake, but let's do something that's so boring that I don't want to be awake anymore. I promise that is a good thing. I used to get up and do plant stuff. That didn't help because I enjoy planting. I love gardening. Do something that's boring. If you have homeworks that you still have to do, or a book that you still need to read for school, look over notes for work. Just find something boring. Go organize paperwork. Whatever it is, just make sure that it's not fun. Okay, and last but not least, consult a specialist. If your sleep problems are persistent, your doctor can refer you to a physician with exercises in sleep disorders. Through evaluation, including sleep studies, it can help establish a diagnosis, and a diagnosis will determine proper treatment. So yes, you can go out there and say, yo, I have a hard time sleeping, but you might have some sort of actual sleep disorder that needs to be treated in other ways. That's just taking serotonin or playing pretty music or going to bed and not eating at a certain time. There may be something wrong with your brain, and so that's why it was so important to go over this in cognitive therapy, cognitive therapy and speech therapy, because it was more so speech therapy because I was learning how to reread and articulate myself again, and so my speech therapist was like, well, hell, we'll knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. You will learn about how to sleep better, and we'll help each other speak along the way. Not me help her, but she helped me speak while I'm trying to read this to her. So I would have never thought about that had I have not gone through the therapy that I went through. And I wanted to do a sleep study so bad when my when my case was still open from after my accident. But the silly people are like, oh, you don't need it. It's just a waste of money. It would have been so beneficial. But they have things out there like that. They have sleep studies. They have specific doctors that you can go to. You can start doing a journal of your sleep disturbances and then take them to a specialist. Or you can just start, and I know it's not good to self-diagnose, but we found this little hat online by self-diagnosing myself. And we found this hat online without a specialist even saying anything. Maybe you have the ringing in your ears that is similar to what happens with a brain injury. There are a whole bunch of things that can affect our sleep, as like I said, opposed to just being busy or having a stressful lifestyle. So, as I was I think that is about all I want to talk about when it comes to sleep. It is so important to also do research onto just the silly things in life, like tips for sleeping well, tips for stretching easier, tips for remembering things. Research things that will just make life a little bit easier. Even though like it seems like such a mundane thing, like, oh my god, sleep is such a simple topic, why would I ever take my time reading about it? The more we know, the more we can apply to our lives, and the more we can just start doing little experiments with ourselves. Like this hat is probably the biggest game changer I ever had. And it was the ringing in my ears that not only caused my anxiety, but caused my inability to literally go to sleep, stay asleep, want the room to be quiet. So I really do want to start making more videos on just the brain and how to just help yourself function in life a little bit easier. And I thought one of the best things we could start with is sleep, because it's something we all experience. Doesn't matter where you are, who you are, what you look like, we all gotta sleep somehow. We all need to rest. So especially in a time like this, in a time where we might be away from friends or families or loved ones, Sleep is really, really hard right now, but it's one of the most necessary things in life where we might not even be able to function or continue living. I've literally heard of people who die so young because they literally just lacked sleep. Whether that be the inability to sleep or the want to sleep, the need to sleep is important. And I think the more we understand that and gather that, and especially if we have a brain injury, especially if we have mental disturbances or just a hectic lifestyle, sleep is one of the biggest helps and biggest pieces of gold there is out there next to water and the sun. So please, if this video maybe helped inspire you to just start researching more into sleep, please do that. If you guys have any tips yourselves on ways that help you fall asleep, one thing my dad and I used to do was just have competitions to see who could fall asleep the fastest. I know it's funny, but it's just mental games, you know. Yeah, so if you guys have any funny little things that you were reminded of when I made this video, leave those down below and maybe we can all help each other sleep a little bit better. Yeah, so I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Like, Lord knows, I know it seems like it probably wasn't that long ago, but I haven't done my makeup in so long. So I was like, dude, stop making an excuse not to do makeup and start making an excuse to do makeup. So I was like, hell, you want to do a video, why not do your makeup? Maybe you guys will watch this more than the others. Give you something pretty to look at. I'm just joking. Okay, so I will see you guys later. I have a couple other little, not just a couple, I have a lot of other paperwork that might be helpful. If you like this video, yes, please let me know. Yeah. And I still have all my other videos planned as well. I just thought this would be a good video to put out there. Yeah, also look at this pretty crystal I put in my room. It's real pretty. I was thinking about making a video where I just go collect rocks in the mountains and crack them open, see what we can find. I used to do that as a kid down there all the time. So yeah. Fill your home and your room with peaceful little things that will just make you feel good all around. And you are the most important factor as well. So if you don't bring the positive energy into your room, then it's kind of hard for it to just solely emanate its own energy. Just like animals, just like plants, the way you act and speak and live affects their living as well. So if your room knows you're happy, you will be able to feel it when you walk in, and other people will be able to feel it too. But if it's, you know, just a place where you have conditioned yourself to maybe the only time you cry is when you're in bed, and now your bedroom is seen as a sorrowful place, or just like a place where your depression comes out, and that's maybe why you don't like sleeping, that's when it also is very important to not have your room also be a place of negativity, not just work or stress, but negativity as in crying or screaming or yelling. We can't have that energy in a place where we're supposed to relax. It'd be like going to your meditative corner and screaming in it every single day and then thinking you want to go down there and meditate the next day and not feel some weird energy around it, you know? So yeah, just from me to you, don't be too harsh on yourself if you can't sleep. I know how tough it is to not be able to sleep and how much it can affect us and the way we move and speak and act and think and be and eat and breathe. So I really hope that this helped you, and I will see you in my next video. I hope you get an amazing night's sleep, and yeah, if not, I'm always here. My channel is always here. So get up and go into the living room and watch one of my videos or something. I don't know. I don't know. But, yeah, it's good talking to you. I'll see you later.